In the pivotal year of 1995, Quebec was faced with a crucial decision that would echo throughout the cobblestone streets that adorn its cities, a referendum in charge of determining the future of the province in relation to the rest of Canada. Unlike previous times, however, the question being asked was clear yet profound. Do you agree that Quebec should become a sovereign after having made a formal offer to Canada for a new economic and political partnership? The heartbeat of entire province echoed with the rhythm of the single question. This was more than a simple political query, as the identity of Quebec itself was put into examination and could be potentially changed for the remainder of time. At the forefront, the We campaign cast a shadow over Quebec's people, forcing a very important decision to be drawn about collectivity and unity. In context, the genesis of Quebec nationalism can be traced back to the 1960s, when the Quiet Revolution marked a period of significant economic and social transformation. It catalyzed a surge in Quebecois cultural pride and identity and set the stage for political movements that advocated for greater autonomy and the potential for outright independence from Canada. Jean Lesage, often labeled the father of the Quiet Revolution, was a prominent figure during this era of transformation. He marked the beginning of a significant governmental and societal reform, often dominated by his slogan, Maître chez nous, which aimed to better manage natural resources and the education system. René Lévesque, another prominent figure during this era, who was a journalist and minister in the Lesage government, was charged with later shifting to spread the word for Quebec's sovereignty and marking significant political realignment within the province. Maurice Duplessis and Paul Sauvé are two other figures worth recognizing during this era. However, their roles become significantly more pronounced during the years leading up to the Quiet Revolution. Beyond political figures, the Quiet Revolution was also being shaped by broader societal movements and actions on behalf of countless individuals who push for change. Union activity, a vibrant cultural renaissance, and student movements all changed the predisposed status quo that laid a foundation for Quebec's society to transform. The road to the referendum following the Quiet Revolution was deeply influenced by the Parti Québécois, which defined itself as a party with clear mandates in favor of Quebec's sovereignty. Under René Lévesque, the PQ's rise to power in the 1970s culminated the original 1980s referendum, which ended up resulting in a 60% no vote. The outcome set the PQ and Lévesque back politically and inspired greater reflection when it came to the complexities and divisions within Quebecois society. Another liberal leader by the name of Claude Ryan was also a key figure during this era, who played a pivotal role during the referendum as the leader of the No campaign. He argued for the emphasis of uncertainties and risks that came with sovereign association, and he managed to resonate clearly with Quebecers to influence the voters' outcome. Moreover, Pierre Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada at this time, also heavily influenced the 1980s political dynamic through his active campaigning against the PQ sovereignty proposal. Keeping unification seemed to be a leading response of oppositions. However, the aftermath of this blip in Quebecois history was still divisive, as the nature of Canadian federalism was still strongly debated, especially among those asking for constitutional changes. Additionally, the failure on behalf of the PQ to achieve sovereignty in the 1980 referendum created internal party resentments, and they shifted their goals for the Quebec's future. This resentment continued into the 1990s, although the outlook and internal appearance of the Parti Québécois was significantly different and planted the seeds for the eventual 1995 Quebec referendum. After this long historical debrief, we can now focus on the events of the 1995 Quebec referendum. The referendum campaign encompassed a period of battling ideologies where there was an intense clash between those in favor of the yes vote, led by Jacques Parizeau, the premier of Quebec and the leader of the Parti Québécois, and those in favor of the no, which was championed by Federalists across Canada. Voting Day, October 30th, 1995, saw an unprecedented turnout for Quebecers ready to underscore the referendum's significance. This time, unlike with the 1980 referendum, the phrasing of the question aimed to better appeal to moderate voters by underlining the idea that their sovereignty would include a partnership rather than an outright independence. Campaigns on both sides of the spectrum were marked by debates, rallies, and campaigns, all with the goal of capitalizing on a sense of unified Quebec identity. Notably, the United Rally in Montreal, which began shortly before the referendum, represented how the rest of Canada came to advocate for Quebecois unity and solidarity. This stood to underline the national significance of the referendum and how deeply the feelings of other Canadians were affected because of this potential division. Important historical actors from this event include Lucien Bouchard, the leader of the Bloc Québécois and key figure in the We campaign, Daniel Johnson Jr., leader of the No campaign and head of the Quebec Liberal Party, who believed in a federalist perspective and that a union with Canada was continually favorable, and Jean Chrétien, the Prime Minister of Canada at the time, who, despite being a Quebecer himself, continually advocated for national unity. When referendum day finally came, the air was fraught with tension, as the results were frighteningly close and further reflected a deeply divided province. The vote showed a 58.58% no vote against a 49.42% yes vote, illustrating the thin margin by which Quebec remained a part of Canada. A defining moment in Canadian history, the 1995 Quebec referendum highlighted the complexities that come along with a national identity for a country battling two cultures. National identity, regional autonomy, and the challenges of accommodating diverse perspectives remained integral questions that needed answering because of this debate. Key political actors, along with influential moments of this period, remain integral to understanding ongoing debates about Quebec's place within the broader Canadian narrative, particularly on topics of democracy, governance, and cultural identity.